Hey there, and welcome back to the Irresistible You Self-Love Challenge. What an incredible 4 days we've had so far during the challenge, and I cannot believe this is episode and day number 5. In case you've missed it, and just to recap for everyone that has been jumping in and participating in the challenge, let's just recap what we've done so far. So, on day 1, we talked about what it really takes to feel comfortable in your own skin. And this is about stopping the inner fat bitch chatter, thinking about your thoughts, observing your thoughts, so that you can develop radical self awareness. Because you can't feel comfortable in your own skin until you're super self aware with what you're even thinking and feeling. And the homework on day 1 was for you to comment in the Facebook Live video with at least one of your inner fat bitch statements. And what I wanted you to do is to just observe as those thoughts come into your mind and to write them down and to just be an observer, not to be a judger. On day 2, we talked about the secret sauce to becoming a confidence queen by taking consistent, imperfect action. And the number one way to build your confidence is to start taking action. And I stress the importance of imperfect action because we're not here to do things perfectly. It's the culmination of small imperfect actions that are going to build and build and build, kind of like a snowman, and we become confident from the doing. The homework and the challenge on day 2 was for you to make a commitment to take one imperfect action by looking at some of your inner fat bitch comments and looking at some of those comments and making a commitment to what is one thing I can do today to start to change that thought in my brain. On day 3, we talked about how to discover why losing weight alone doesn't equal automatic happiness. And that the way that you do that is to develop and create a loving, fun relationship with yourself. Because for so many of you, that's what you're missing, is you don't have a relationship with yourself and you don't even know who you are and what you want. And we can't get out of our own way. We can't develop self-love. We can't become irresistible you if we don't even know who we are and what we want. And so we also talked about on day 3, writing down your vision for your future self. Who is she? What does she think? What does she do? What does she want? And then I also asked for you to go and schedule a you walk. And a you walk is basically where you go out by yourself without anyone with you and just spend time alone. And the reason I set this up as a walk is because it's something simple. It's something you can quickly and easily do without a lot of planning and preparation. And so what I asked you to do is to go back in the comments and to tell me when you're going to be doing that so we can hold you accountable to it. And if you want bonus points, to post a selfie of you out on your you walk and what you observed and what you discovered about yourself. Okay. On day 4, we talked about the number one thing you need to do to stop zombie walking through your life. And the secret sauce here is to practice mindful acceptance. To be mindful and present and in the moment, no matter where you are in your weight journey and your body image journey or in your life and what's going on. And so the homework on this was for you to write your why statement so that you have something to anchor back to when you just want to stop and because what we're trying to get away from is you starting and stopping and starting and stopping. And also to complete a 1-day mindfulness diary. Now, if you are behind in the challenge and you haven't completed the homework, what I want you to do is I want you to be intentional. Schedule some time in your calendar, whether it's today or this weekend, and I want you to go back through the podcast episodes, the Facebook Lives, and do the homework not because I'm asking you to do it, I'm guiding you to do it, I'm pushing you to do it, but I want you to do it because you owe it to yourself. I want you to do it because you made a commitment to yourself. I want you to do it so that you show up for yourself. Okay? So it's not too late. Don't feel like you can't get back in there and do that. You can go back and listen to everything. And all the Facebook Live videos are nicely organized into one little unit inside of our free podcast discussion group. All right. So, happy Valentine's Day. Can you believe it's Valentine's Day? The day of love. Which means this is the fifth and final day of the self-love challenge. Today, we are talking about how to love yourself through the journey, not just if or when you get to your goal weight, but how to love yourself through the journey. What we're tackling today is the real issue, the underlying issue of all of these things, which is losing the emotional weight. The emotional weight that you're carrying is how you feel about your body, how you feel about your weight, about yourself, and about your life. And understanding that those feelings and those emotions that you're carrying, which can be very heavy, those things are what are actually driving your actions and then essentially the life that you're living. In order to love yourself through the journey and to get to a place where you feel irresistible, you have to have a framework, you have to have support and coaching to hold you accountable. And so in today's episode, I'm going to be revealing how the Irresistible You framework that I developed helped me go from feeling uncomfortable, feeling miserable in my own skin, unhappy in my life, saying someday all the time, looking for another BS fad diet to fix me, to feeling irresistible, unstoppable, regardless of my weight. Because bodies fluctuate, weight fluctuates. And we can't only love ourselves when we think we're perfect, because that's never going to happen. And I know for a fact that dieting and exercise alone are not going to give you the confidence you crave. I know this because I did it for years. And what finally worked for me was implementing and living the guiding principles that I created inside of the Irresistible You framework. And so let's talk about what each one of those guiding principles are so that you can have a better understanding, okay? So we're going to start with guiding principle number 1. So this framework that I speak about, this is the framework that I created through my journey. These are the guiding principles that I live my life by. This is not a bunch of BS. This is how I live my life. And this is the foundation of Irresistible You, which is my signature program, where if you want to work with me and go even deeper on all of these things, this is what the program is built around, okay? And within each one of these guiding principles, we go a lot deeper so that you can really gain the strategies to implement these things into your life. So we start with guiding principle number 1, which is break the rules. And break the rules is about going back to the inner fat bitch chatter. What are the rules that you have created? What are the stories that you tell yourself? What are the things that you believe about yourself that are holding you back? We're going to dissect and we dive into those so that you can essentially break those rules and you get to rewrite your new ones. And we talked about that in the challenge, that regardless of where your rules came from, because we know they come from past experiences, They come from things family members have said, or friends, or relationships, or things that have happened to you, traumas that have happened to you, comes from the media and diet culture, and it's just a culmination of all of those things. But regardless of where those things came from, we get to move forward and decide, I now write the rules. I get to break these bullshit rules and I get to write the new rules. And this is how I'm living my life going forward. Because while these rules may have defined me before, they will no longer define my future and that future vision I have of myself, which is why that is so important. So, guiding principle number 1 is break the rules. Now, I'm going to say this. When we talk about the 5 guiding principles, these aren't like step by step by step, meaning, well, you learn to break the rules and then that's it, you never do it again. If you haven't learned anything this week, you have learned that we have to continuously go back and revisit, well, what am I telling myself? Why am I thinking this way? Where is this coming from? And so we'll give you strategies that you can use in the moment to help you do that as well. Because things are always going to come up for you that you need to break, right? So we're breaking the things that we've been living by, but also giving you the tools and the resources as things come up now and in the future. Here's what you're going to do, and here's how you solve that, okay? Guiding principle number 2 is called Make Confidence Queen. Now, we talked a lot about that secret sauce to becoming a confidence queen by taking imperfect action. And that's really what becoming confident means. And I call this Make Confidence Queen because we can rewrite the rules all day long. We can, do nice things for ourselves. But if we don't build up our confidence, we're not going to be able to implement those rules. And so we talk about in the program, we need to make confidence the queen of your life, because she needs to reign over your life and all the things that you do, so that you are consistently taking imperfect action to become the woman that you want to be. Okay? So that's Make Confidence Queen. And we talk about confidence, yes, from a body image standpoint, but it also, as you've learned by now, it's also about how are you showing up in your life and in other areas where you're not confident. And we talk about all of those things, okay? So guiding principle number 3 is called Feed Your Soul. And this is a principle that I never had any of this in my life prior to me coming up with a framework and putting all this together as I kind of went through my breakdown and my journey. And realizing that if your soul is starving and empty, you're going to reach out to food or binge watching TV or like numbing yourself out in some kind of way because you don't have an identity outside of that cycle. And remember, we talked about that, where if you don't break this fat girl identity, it's almost like you're addicted to the cycle of yo-yo dieting and hating yourself, because you don't have an identity outside of it, because you haven't explored the rules holding you back. You haven't explored why you think the way you think. And Feed Your Soul is about, how do I work on building a relationship with myself? How do I work on developing a new identity for who I want to become? What do I love to do that's going to feed my soul, fill me up with joy and happiness, so that I'm not constantly trying to find these little pockets of easy comfort in the moment with food and not taking care of myself and repeating the cycle over and over again, so that you have other things in your life that fulfill you. Because if you're going through that cycle, you don't have that. And so feeding your soul is a guiding principle that you have to live your life by. Otherwise, you're going to stay stuck doing what you've always done. Okay? Guiding principle number 4 is called be in the moment. And it doesn't get any more crystal clear than that. Be in the moment, be present, be mindful. That's what we talked about yesterday. We talked about mindful acceptance and breaking this cycle of zoning out and not being present and mindful with ourselves. And when we're not present and mindful, that's when weeks and months and years go by and we don't know how we got here. We don't know how we gained back the weight. We don't know how we're still in this shitty situation or this shitty relationship or this shitty job because we're just going through the motions. And so this is about, we're going to stop zombie walking it through life and we're going to be mindful and present, even when it's not that fun, even when life isn't really going so great. Because we have to learn to go through the ups and downs, the ebbs and flows of our life, and not just try to be the best version of ourselves when things are perfect. And that's why you keep starting and stopping. Because the conditions don't stay perfect, because that's life. And then you beat yourself up for it. And so this is about, let's learn how to be present and mindful, not just hoping and praying one day if we ever get our perfect body or get to goal weight, well, then we'll be like that. No, we need to enjoy life now because it's passing by, okay? Guiding principle number 5 is called get your glam on. Now, we didn't go into a ton of detail on this one over the challenge, but this one is like the fun principle, the icing on the cake, if you will. We do a lot of inner work, breaking the rules, making confidence queen, feeding your soul, being mindful, being in the moment. But then let's talk about how we want to show up physically in the world. And this is about defining, what is your signature style? Do you have a signature style? And I go through in the program exactly how to do that. What is your definition of glam? Your definition of glam may not be the same as mine, and that's okay. This isn't about fitting into a stereotype. This is about what makes you feel good, what makes you, how can you take better care of yourself externally and show up in the world with some pride in your appearance and not roll out of bed every day, not take a shower, not do your face, not do your hair, look like a hot, frazzled mess. Because your outside is reflective of your inside. And when you start feeling better about yourself, you want to show up differently. You want to take better care of your body. You want to take better care of yourself and feel more feminine again and like feel really good and irresistible about the way you look. It's not about your size. It's about taking pride in your appearance. And when you feel good, like when you look good, you feel good. Right? And that's contagious because then when you feel good, you do good and you're just like passing that on to other people and it's amazing. You know, and what we find so often is when we've kind of lost ourselves and we don't recognize ourselves anymore, we're uncomfortable in our clothes or we don't have a set style or you've been wearing the same raggedy clothes for so long because you're scared. You're scared to go to the store. You're afraid that somebody might make a comment about your size or your weight or, you know, you don't go and get your hair done because you don't want to be judged. You don't go and get massages because you don't want anyone to see your body naked on a table. And you're not doing these things that would make you feel so much better about yourself because of your lack of confidence, because of the rules that you tell yourself. And so as you can probably start to see, each one of these guiding principles weaves into one another. They're not a lateral, like step by step. First you break the rules, then you make confidence queen, then you feed your soul, then you're in the moment, then you get your glam on. It doesn't go that way. Then that's why I call them guiding principles. They're not steps. These are principles to guide the way you live your life, to give you structure, to give you a framework in which to live your life. Because right now you don't have that. And each time you get into your research mode and you get all hyped up about this latest diet you saw and the latest keto and the latest Whole 30 and you go and buy all your foods and you get all excited, And then it all falls to shit a couple days into it because it was never realistic to begin with. And sure, maybe, yeah, you do want to lose the physical weight, but underneath of that, what you really crave is to just feel good about yourself. And for so many of you that tell me, even when you lose weight, you still don't like yourself. So clearly, the answers aren't in the diets that you're doing. And if you do want to lose physical weight, well, duh, you have to work out, you have to move your body, and you have to eat less. Eat less, move more, right? That's what we have to do. That's science. But eat less, move more doesn't address the other emotional component that's holding you back. That's what's holding you back. It's not the types of diets. It's not your lack of willpower. It's the fact that you don't have a framework and a system. So you're just expecting that you're going to find yourself, you're going to find your confidence, your happiness, your fulfillment, your joy because you lose weight. And then when that happens, you're like, well, now what? So if you don't lose the emotional weight, no amount of weight loss is going to change anything in your life right now. You're just going to be smaller. And that's going to be cool for a minute, but then the new car smell is going to go away and you're stuck with the same old bullshit you've been telling yourself for years. And so the goal of my program of Irresistible You is to provide you with that framework. It's designed to help you end the body hate shame cycle. It's designed to help you gain confidence to look and feel irresistible at any size, at any weight. Because I have women in my program who are all ranges of size. Because emotional weight doesn't discriminate. It doesn't care what size you are. You could be 120 pounds or 220 pounds and feel the exact same way on the inside. And still look in the mirror and not like any of it. So when you become a student and you enroll in the program, you get that step-by-step framework and system. So it removes the stress, the self-doubt over, what do I do? And it shows you what you should be doing to drop the emotional weight, what you should be doing to gain confidence, because you just follow the steps and the principles. And the program is a combination of these self-paced videos and modules that have activities and self-reflections and homework. And that's coupled with live coaching from me to help support you so that you finally get to feel confident in your own skin, or maybe for the first time ever. And so, one of the things that is so important is having that ongoing accountability, that ongoing support, because this journey feels isolating. This journey feels like you're the only one. And isolation and hiding is a big thing that a lot of you do. And I did it too. I used to have panic attacks. I had agoraphobia and I couldn't leave my house because I had god-awful panic attacks every time I would leave my home. And I recognize that, and that's why that's such a critical piece of the program is you need that accountability and that support from people that just get it. So if that is something you're ready to do, if you're ready to drop the poor body image, gain confidence, drop the emotional weight without getting back on the yo-yo diet body hate shame cycle, then I'm here ready and waiting to support you. I will say, like most things in life, Irresistible You is not going to be for everyone. If you are afraid of ripping off your wet blanket and you would rather just stay under the wet blanket, continue living your life, running on the hamster wheel of the yo-yo diet body hate shame cycle, then it's not going to be for you. If you're happy continuing to hide, to isolate, to play small, and to stay in denial about how much this is infecting the rest of your life, then it's not for you either. But if you are someone who wants to have someone to help pick you up when things get hard, if you're someone who wants to let off some steam, to rant to other people who get you, if you want a plan designed for you by like someone who has been struggling with weight your entire life, and you're ready to drop the weight you can't see, that emotional weight, and you want to feel lighter and happier and irresistible and just comfortable and confident in your body and your life, well then, if that's you, I've opened up some spots. There's a very limited amount of spots to work with women who are committed to showing up for themselves, who want to create the life they crave, and they want to stop waiting for the weight. If that's you, then girl, we need to talk. And here's the thing, let me just say this. I don't work with everyone because not everyone is a good fit for the program. And Irresistible You requires a financial investment. And I think that is important for you to know right up front, for you to know before you decide if you're actually ready. And if that is you, then what I want you to do is I want you showing up today during the Facebook Live to find out how you can go ahead and take that next step. Because I'm going to share more with you about, okay, if this is you, if this is what you want, if you feel like you want to explore this and find out if maybe if you even qualify for the program, then I want you to come into the Facebook Live because I want you to learn more about that. Plus, whatever questions you have about the program or about any of the challenges that we've done this week or any of the content in general, this is the time to show up and ask those questions because I'm going to be there live and it's a great time for you to just interact and get your questions answered. Excuse me. I have had a blast doing this challenge. I hope you have had some aha moments. I hope you've had some nuggets that you've taken away from the time that we've had together, and it's opened your eyes to some of the things in your life that you could be doing differently. And that's what I'm here for. This is what I have committed my life to doing. This is my life's purpose, and I'm not going anywhere. This is what I do. And like I said, I hope, some of you are going to be a good fit for the program and some of you won't, and that's fine. Some of you it'll be the right time and some of you it won't, and that's okay too. Because the podcast is still here. I'm not going anywhere. If anything, y'all, we're just getting started. This thing is ramping up and we're just getting started. So, head on over to the Facebook group today at noon Eastern Time. Again, if you cannot make it live, the replays will be available. Schedule the time. Remember, we don't find time. We schedule time with intention if we want to make changes and if we want to show up for ourselves. All right. Thank you so much for listening, for participating, for being part of the Irresistible You Self-Love Challenge. I am wishing you the happiest Valentine's Day. Make yourself your Valentine. Don't wait for somebody else. Do it for you. Go buy yourself some flowers. Go show yourself some self-love. And start working on yourself because you deserve it. All right, I will see you in the group. Until then, stay irresistible.